All right, welcome to Health Second Opinion. Dr. Chad here with you. Excited about yet another week of some truth and some principle in healthcare to help you make your decisions better, because it's really about the vision for your life, right? Your vision changes everything. The person who, like we're talking about, diabetes here, or I should say Parkinson's disease, with diabetes as implications and some of the things. We're going to see that the way that you approach this changes your vision, changes your outcomes, and we want to provide you with some new research and different viewpoints based out of vitalism, meaning that we are going to help you understand how this principle of improving the terrain of the body, the soil, and removing interference to the expression of our body's innate inborn healing potential. Right? I mean, our bodies started out as one cell, and now this person's talking to you, and that innate inborn intelligence that's constantly running my body. You have your version of it, and so it's going to play a role in some of the things we're going to talk about here in relationship to Parkinson's disease, or some of the early predictors of Parkinson's disease, the indicators that determine the type of decline that people will have, whether it'll be the more movement or more of the cognitive decline, the tremors, things like that. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that are there isn't a lot of data and a lot of documentation of the amount of reversing of Parkinson's disease. There's lots of case studies out there. There's lots of evidence that it can be done, but yet as far as trials and things like that, it's just not been done efficiently. But yet there are a lot of things that we can do to, at a minimum, slow the progression. And so that's where we want to go with things, because again, that vitalistic principle that our bodies are trying to fix it, and that normally it's the environment that we're providing our body that overwhelms the body and allows it to progress down a pathway that oftentimes is accelerated by our lifestyles. And with that recognition comes responsibility that we are responsible for our outcomes. It's looking through some of this research, and so we'll talk about vitamin B12 and the homocysteine levels that predict outcomes in early Parkinson's disease. So what they were doing is looking at the predictions of what type and the levels that they'll have. And so B12 was, this was the conclusion that low B12 baseline predicted greater worsening of mobility, whereas elevated homocysteine predicted greater cognitive decline. This is the again, it's cited in the International Parkinson's Movement Disorder Society. And if you want the research, you can text us. And so let's give you the number here. Text this number. And well, it's not for new patient, but you can still text the number. Let's go here. Maybe that'll work better. Haha. And as we figure out our tech. So you can text 657-4777, and we'll get you the information and the other resources in an email form. And so when we think about that, what is, these homocysteine levels, what are they in relationship to, and how does that influence the body? When we start looking at homocysteine levels, it's a common indicator of B12 deficiency. And then the homocysteine levels, as they rise, it predicts the amount of arterial clogging and clotting and the amount of inflammation that's going to damage the arteries. Now, of course, the blood vessels in the brain are one of the first places those damage will show up. And so when we think about Parkinson's disease and other neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's and things. We're really looking, we know that there is a blood vessel implication to the lack of good blood flow there in the brain that allows for more of the plaquing and the neural degeneration that's happening, that is this accelerated brain aging. And so, again, it talks about and helps us understand that our vitamin and mineral deficiencies in our nutrition plays a very key role in Parkinson's disease progression, both the type and the timing of. Given that that elevated homocysteine can be improved, and B12 deficiency can be improved with supplementation and nutrition. Further studies are indicated for the correction of the nutritionally modifiable conditions that slows the development of the disability as a part of the final conclusion. And so we're going to touch base on that and really talk about how one of the things that we can modulate is this. This is another research here on the ketogenic, nootropic, and Parkinson's disease. And this was research that was done looking at the NRF2 modulator and oxidative stress. We understand that the amount of toxicity, the amount of oxidative stress in the progression of Parkinson's disease is a major contributor to the mechanisms of how it's going to develop. And that the ROS contributing to the oxidative profile of the neuronal cells include mitochondrial respiration, dopamine metabolism, and environmental exposures. So this it's talking about to the master switch, the NRF2 studies, and the exposure from environmental agents. So this is where I wanted to get to. Genetic variability in and around that gene has been associated with risk and age of onset of Parkinson's disease, while the genetic aberrations mediated the genes individual risk for Parkinson's from environmental agents. Due to the functional role in its mitigating the oxidative stress, meaning the free radical oxidation, the degeneration, the accelerated aging in the brain, it looks to, in the neuronal damage, it's been shown both in vitro and vivo that is implicated as a possible therapeutic agent. And so what they showed in this, the research, was that the ketogenic diet in some way, yet not totally understood, bypasses one of the problems with getting fuel, getting proper energy, and proper cellular respiration that goes on to help the cells survive the damage due to impaired oxidative metabolism. So what happens is the body normally is utilizing oxygen and glucose to allow it to produce energy in the mitochondria, the little bitty packaging inside of every cell, these little engines, these storehouses of where, you know, a lot of transcription of proteins and different things are being made, but it's also where energy is being produced in the form of ATP for the body. And yes, I know this is a lot of information, and we want to talk about this, though, because without your vision and your awareness, you can't understand and then, implement the process right. Because if you don't understand the cause, then you can't remove it. And so the underlying principles, you know, most people today would stop and say, geez, just quit talking about all that and tell me the supplement. Give me the pill. You know, fine. You said keto, I'll go eat just meat and protein, and that supposedly is going to help Parkinson's disease. No. The idea is that the progression of heart disease and diabetes and all the other things in lifestyle, the toxicity levels, the things that cause accelerated aging of your cardiovascular system, and will contribute to the progression of Parkinson's disease. And so utilizing clean keto to lower that and bypass and not have your brain being, because your brain can live and function off of ketone bodies, and putting your body into ketosis, or hypoketonemia, I believe. I struggle with that word for some reason, but it allows your body to use the ketone bodies for their fuel, versus using the cellular respiration normal method of glucose and oxygen. And so it's a way of somehow, all the mechanisms, as I said, aren't known, of how it ends up bypassing the process and allowing your brain to have less damage due to starvation and higher oxidative stress on the body, so that it slows that amount of degeneration down. Not to mention that, just like we were talking about in the workshop on metabolism the other night on Tuesday, hopefully you can find that out there on YouTube and take a look at the in-depth process, because we're only going to be able to talk about it in short here. But one of the solutions here is that keto diet. And one of the things that, a lot of people are dealing with, and let's step back and stop and say, what's another category of people who are putting themselves in harm's way? How about all those people who have inflammatory conditions, including rheumatoid arthritis and other things that are being treated with drugs like methotrexate? If you're taking these immunosuppressive drugs, you really need to know and be aware of how to fix it. The vitamin deficiencies and mineral deficiencies caused by different classifications of drugs. And that information's pretty readily available out there on the web as to the different classifications and those deficiencies, so that then you again can help yourself reduce these problems. Like, I don't know how much counseling usually goes on with the usage of those, and people's nutrition who are getting treated with methotrexate for rheumatoid arthritis and other psoriatic arthritis and other conditions. So it's about your awareness to that principle that your body's trying to do it, and that these are limiting factors. Any deficiency, any toxicity, or any lack of control of the body with the rest of the body is going to accelerate the degeneration of the entire body. And we're talking about it in reference to Parkinson's disease. And so keto, clean keto, basically you want to be focused on minimizing the amount of sugar that you come in through reducing all of your high glycemic index fruits and vegetables. So what does that leave you with? That leaves you with Granny Smith apples, berries, lemons, and limes. And so that's basically it. There are some types of grapefruit out there that can fall into the classification, but finding those that aren't the ruby red sweets and this and that is a level that I'm unwilling to go to. So we just stick with those constituents for your fruits. Getting rid of the high glycemic index vegetables, things like carrots and just things that we commonly use that are really, they're higher in sugar and will bring you out of ketosis. And when your body switches over into ketosis, it begins to use fat as fuel instead of the glucose. So most of us are sugar burners. And so our body is using oxygen and the sugar to produce energy, ATP, in every single cell of the body, including the brain. And so clean keto does not mean you're just eating a bunch, dirty keto is eat just a bunch of fat and processed food and stay away from the carbs, and maybe don't even eat fruits and vegetables, and you're just living off of typically very toxic junk, which then does have your body into ketosis, which will have your body burn some of its fat mass, and reduce your weight, which sounds good. But the damage is it's kind of a robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you're going to increase your oxidative stress through toxicity and the damage to the kidneys and the different things that you can do, the liver, because of the amount of pressure there, then reduces your health overall. So still, again, getting plenty of fruits and vegetables, your quality meats is going to be really, it's about understanding that your meats depend on what they ate. So it's understanding that GMO grains and things like that regular conventional cows and pigs and chickens are eating and being fed make them toxic. So it's very important to understand that it's about organic, grass-fed or free-range chickens and grass-fed beef, so pasture-raised animals, so that they're in their normal environment producing healthy muscle tissue, which you're eating, and not being couch potatoes, but they're also being fed. And so grass-fed means that they're on the pasture about 30% of the time. Grass-fed and finished means that they're on the pasture 100% of the time. So that's, again, a little bit of your label reading necessities. Oh, by the way, we are doing a food label reading class at Ingalls next Thursday, and that'll be at 6:30 at Ingalls. And so you can text 657 or 706-657-4777. Just text Ingalls to that number and let us know how many people you want to bring with you. We have a max of 10, so we might have to run a couple of different cycles, but yet at 10 at a time, going through a food label reading and shopping class there at Ingalls. So now that gets your cleaning up your meats, understanding that then if you're going to burning fat for fuel, that your fat really matters. And so you want to be eating really good oils and anything that you want to get rid of the saturated fats and the trans fats. And so main oils are going to be olive oil or coconut oil or avocado oil. And avocado oil is very important for anything that you're going to cook over 350, because the others start becoming rancid or becoming carcinogenic to some point at their smoke points, which is somewhere right there around 350 for most of the coconut oils and olive oils that are out there. And then at the Shop of the Doc, we'll be talking about best purchases and where to get those as far as type of containers and best pricing. And so one of the big things is you really got to understand that the dirty versus the clean, and putting your body into ketosis and maintaining it for as little as 22 days has shown reductions in blood sugar, improvement in insulin sensitivity, arteriosclerosis reduction, coronary artery disease reduction. And so all of the things that you're wanting to do to improve blood circulation to the brain, that's going to help out as long as it's clean. Then you add in the fact that your body in ketosis is using ketone bodies for the fuel inside of those brain cells, which again provides a better or less oxidative stress on those neurons. Then again, you're going to have less of the plaquing, less of the neural degeneration, things associated with Parkinson's or the advancement of any of the neurodegenerative disorders. So one of the other things that they noted was that common deficiency in people is magnesium. Also, when they were looking at some of the research that's out there, they're looking at the cannabinoid pathways. And matter of fact, one of the articles that I have here is about, where did that one go? Cannabinoid receptor 2 signaling in neurodegenerative disorders and the promise as a therapeutic agent. And so reasons that the CBD2 receptor, or CB receptor 2, as a promising therapeutic agent. So those cannabinoid pathways and the research that's coming out there as to how it modulates, again, that progression of neurodegeneration. So one of the magnesium, CBD, keto neurotropic, trichobolamine, cannabinoid omega, and a ketogenic diet are some of the suggestions that we're looking at here in the office and supporting people with these and how to implement these in a clean way, not from a treatment perspective. No one in Max Living, not myself, is treating Parkinson's disease. That's a medical condition. But producing a healthier person, reducing toxicity, helping them with a ketogenic diet, removing neurological interference from the body, meaning that, one of the big things that we see progress as the progression of Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease is this forward antalgic, methystinated gait, the changes in movement, increases in neurological tremors. All of those are worsened by that worsening posture, putting stress on the spinal cord, the brain stem, and the brain, causing changes in the white matter of the brain and also in the tracts of the spinal cord and the myelin sheaths, causing progressive demyelination. And so that is something that is a direct chiropractic target. We are looking to remove the subluxations, improve the posture of our patients, and reduce that neurological stress that then allows every other process in the body to function better. And these are just some of the things that this vitalistic perspective, which we provide, is just an amazing side benefit that you get by being a patient in a Max Living office, because the core chiropractic of removing that neurological interference and reducing the subluxations, and then teaching you how to strengthen the body with your own home care exercises to create or strengthen the ligaments and the muscles to hold the positions and reduce those subluxations long term, is in and of itself the main goal. The implementation of the lifestyle and the 5 essentials provided by Max Living reduces the other stress that's coming in on the body, so that it again allows that innate healing potential to happen with less interference from toxicity, from deficiencies caused by your nutrition, deficiencies in oxygen, having a poor body mass ratio because you don't exercise, and the concepts of where to start, how to start, and what to do that for you at your age and current fitness level and any other conditions that you might have. All of that being processed and packaged in this vitalistic mindset is really what sets these offices apart, and why I love what I do in providing this here for the tri-state area. And so it's just another topic here with Parkinson's disease that we can touch base on to bring you. Please get out there. Send us, again, text the office at 706-657-4777 and text Parkinson's if you want that research, and we'll try to text it to you or send it out in an email form. Actually, I think that'd be better. Go ahead, send us your email address to drchadmcdill@aol.com, or you can text it to that office number and we'll send that out in an email. All righty, I hope you are blessed with yet another week, and this has spurred some thought on anyone you know who has any neurodegenerative disorders and or wants to avoid them. See you next week.